This is a place everybody interested in biblical studies should know about. And the Pharaoh who built this place was a rebel, an amazing, eccentric character known as Pharaoh Aten. One of the really intriguing things about Akhenaten is he was essentially an ancient, pre-biblical monotheist, if you will. He worshipped one god, not a whole pantheon. And that god was the Aten, the disk of the sun, the light of the sun itself, not the sun in various manifestations, but the pure light emitting from the sun. Now, I brought you here in conjunction with the study of the Psalms because in one of the tombs at Amarna was found as an inscription on the wall this amazing hymn to the Aten, to this one god of Pharaoh Akhenaten. And many people over time have noticed the amazing similarities between one of the Psalms, Psalm 104, and many of the images and lines in this poem. There's also contrasts, and the two are certainly not identical, but the way that God is worshipped in each psalm has some amazing connections. So we're here in one of the houses, one of the lovely houses in this new capital of Amarna, and we're going to look at the Psalm 104 closely and see where it's drawing on ancient Near Eastern images. And in this case of Psalm 104, these images seem very alive and real in Akhenaten's hymn to the Aten. So let's go ahead and take a look. Again, this hymn was found inscribed in the tomb of A-Y-E. That's the full version of it is what we'll be looking at. Some fragments of it were found elsewhere, and scholars think that this may have been a commonly used hymn to the Aten, used by a lot of Egyptians at this time. We're in the 14th century. Akhenaten ruled from 1353 to 1335 BCE. So essentially before any known biblical documents were in existence. The first thing we'll look at is Psalm 104, verse 20, and some of the parallels in the Egyptian hymn. Notice particularly the emphasis in both cases on God at work each day, being directly and powerfully responsible for ending each day and causing night and causing darkness. It's kind of a monotheistic conception. Usually God is associated with light and weal and well-being. Take a listen.
When you set in the western horizon, the land is in darkness, in the nature or manner of death, maut, death.
Psalm 104, 20. You make darkness, and it is night. Next we'll turn to Psalm 104, verse 21, which is really pretty interesting. The psalm is making reference to wild creatures, such as the lions, coming out at night. Again, emphasizing God's power over both daytime and the more scary nighttime. The hymn to the Aten does the same thing.
All the lions come forth from his two dens. He said, all creeping things, they sting, they sting.
Psalm 104, 21. The young lions roar for their prey, seeking their food from God. Next, let's just go a few verses down in Psalm 104 to verse 23. The psalm is celebrating how eventually nighttime ends The sun rises, and people go out and perform their work. They turn to their vocations. Same imagery, very clearly seen in this Egyptian hymn to the Aten.
They do their work.
Psalm 104:23, people go out to their work and their labor until the evening. And then as a final example out of many more that I could have chosen, I want to move next to where the hymn to the Aten speaks of the multitude, the plurality, the manyness of God's creatures and God's works. All the diversity and the plenitude and fullness of God's deeds and works in creation. The whole world is full of God's creatures, and that's a cause to celebrate God. Same imagery, even the same language is pretty clear in the hymn to the Aten. Take a listen.
When he comes forth from it, how manifold or multitude it is. What you have made.
Psalm 104, verse 24. O Lord, how manifold are your works. In wisdom you made them all. The earth is full of your creatures.